Friendship is a wild thing. I've been very blessed throughout my life to have some of the greatest friends, that anyone could ever imagine. One of them sticks out to me. His name is Will, and we became friends when I was in fourth grade. I was 9 years old. I'm 49 now. This is 40 years of friendship, and you learn a lot about a person when you're on a pier fishing with them for 9 hours when you're in eighth grade. And you don't have a phone. You don't even really have bait that will catch anything. You don't have any food. You don't have any money. And you got to go to the payphone and dial 1-800-COLLECT. And when they say, who's this call for? Then you say, Mom, come pick me up. And then, that's the recording. So my mom would know, and we would just hang up before so she wouldn't get a collect call, but she would be able to know to come and get us. And we spent time on the pier singing songs that probably would get us canceled today. I got pooped on by a pelican on top of my head after chopping him in the neck, and I think that was karma. But I look at Will, and every single time I've had an expectation of our friendship, he's exceeded it. This guy comes in with absolutely no agenda. He's just there for me. He's been there for me in the darkest valleys, at the highest peaks, and on the way up the mountain. He has done every single thing. Like in my life, I've almost experienced everything, almost every single thing from from birth to death, to mourning, to celebration, to everything in the middle. And I've experienced them with my buddy Will. And he lifts me up all the time. He's just that friend that is there no matter what. And we have discussions, that, like, literally, someone said to me the other day that you don't have real friends unless the text messages that you send back and forth to each other, if they got exposed, you would get canceled. And I was like, well, I guess that would happen. And when I looked through this, and I just want you to know, Will, I want to speak directly to you. I love you. You have been there for me through, my losing my mom, losing my dad. Well, I didn't really lose them. I know where they went. Your mom went on to heaven. We got a chance to be able to spend time there, through marriages, through divorces, through kids, through all these things. And you've been there with me with the darkest times, the valleys, all the stuff, up the mountain on the highest peaks. And I just want to tell you how much I love you, man. I don't tell you enough, but the little things that you do, just the person that you are, and the friendship that you've given me over the last 40 years is unreal. And I hope that every single person has a friend like you in their life, for their life. And so as I was reading Proverbs 23, it gives us the roadmap to friendship and drives home the importance of relationship over religion. So why don't we get this party started?
Achieving, cause we believing it's for certain. We put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting right before your eyes. So it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Friendship is the best currency, I tell you. Like, if you get the opportunity, call a friend today. Spend a little bit of time. Just the other day, I got a chance to go out and spend some time with one of my buddies. His name is Roy Tuscany. The High Fives Foundation sponsors the podcast. They're a partner with us. They provide, incredible experiences for spinal cord injury victims and people who, otherwise they get limitations put on them, people who have been paralyzed or lost a limb or things like that. And they're giving the opportunities. I was just out at the sports, the motocross, and they had done adaptive motocross. And so all the guys, they shut down the course, and all the adaptive motocross guys got to go out and ride motorcycles and do the thing because they had adapted the motorcycles to it. And that's what the High Fives Foundation does. Not only with that, but all extreme sports. So Roy Tuscany, it's amazing. But I got a chance to go out and spend a little bit of time with him. He's my buddy. He's my friend, and got to see him and celebrate what he's doing in his life. I tell you, friendship is the greatest currency you could ever invest in. If you're If you're tuning in for the first time, this is an episode of Inchstones. We take 3,000-year-old wisdom and see how it can be applicable today. And how it's applicable for me today is this blueprint of friendship. Like, it's amazing that 3,000 years ago in Proverbs 23, it literally wrote out how to be a good friend. How to be a good friend to all the people around you. And if you have good friends in your life, it makes life so much easier because then you just get to be yourself. But if you are a good friend to somebody, you could bless them with your gifts. I'm telling you, like, friendship is the greatest currency that you could ever invest in. Membership will get you access, but relationships or membership will grant you privileges, but relationships will get you access. And so I've seen this throughout my life, and the relationships that are built, the little things, my pops always said it. He said, you never know where someone's from. You never know where they're going. You never know where you'll meet up with them again. So make a friend out of everyone. And so Proverbs 23 drives this home. Will, I want to tell you again how much I love you, how much I want to honor you, and you're hilarious. If you get a chance, I'm excited when we do the Vibe Room. Hopefully I'll get Will to one of those events, the Vibe Experience, which is coming up. We're actually looking at too, and this is, precursor to it, but we're looking at a Vibe Experience here in Carlsbad, 2-day experience. It is going to be unreal. We haven't got the date yet, but it is coming. So Mark, keep it open. It's only going to be open to, I think, just over 100 people. So about 100, 105 that will do. So that is, unless you do double occupancy in the room, then we'll double that number. But I tell you, there's a place, and it is beautiful. It's the most beautiful place here in Carlsbad, and we're going to do the Vibe Experience there. So I'm calling the shot. I want to tell you guys about that. But let's jump into Proverbs 23. In verse 1 through 5, 17 through 18, true friendship has an unlimited ROI, return on investment. It's unlimited. Like, it's the what I find is everything else is a risk. When we talk about ROI, when you open a business, it's a risk. When you, invest in anything, there's always the risk. But with friendship, there's no risk. There's absolutely no risk. It has the highest ROI. There's no risk to it. And some people are like, well, what if I invest in the friendship and then someone does me wrong? Well, guys, honestly, like, when you keep your side of the fence clean, this is what I learned from Greg Reed. If you keep your side of the fence clean, you'll always learn a lesson. You'll always walk away with something, which can be incredible. So invest in friendship. Invest in friendship. In verse 6 through 8, one morsel of friendship is more valuable than a meal of transactions. Let me say it again. One morsel of friendship is more valuable than a full meal of transactions. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't do transactions with friends. Be conscious of this, though. Be very, very conscious of it, because that can end a friendship very, very quickly. Some people tell me, if you transact with someone, it'll cause you to be more friendly with them, things like that. I would say be very, very cautious. And I learned this from quite a few of my mentors, but especially recently, my friend Baron Baptiste, incredible human being. But he said he's very conscious of the stages that he steps on and the other people that are speaking on him before or after him that are in the same realm, because when he signs his name to something, it has to have integrity. So I would just be very conscious of this. One morsel of friendship is more valuable than a full meal of transactions. So transactions, they're not bad. But I would make sure there's no time, there's no bad thing ever to slowing it down a little bit and having discernment with those choices. In verse 9, 19 through 21, or verse 9 and 19 through 21, silly people say and do silly things. This is a pretty simple one, right? If you see silly things happening, most of the time it's silly people that are saying and doing them. So just be conscious. If you hear or see silly things happening, look, and there's going to be silly people. If you see silly people, most likely you'll hear silly things and you'll see silly things happening. So just be conscious of it. How can we be conscious and filter that and know that it's silly? Well, we just fill our heart up with wisdom. And then we run every single thing through our heart if it's filled up with wisdom. Now, some people are like, follow your heart. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't follow your heart. I would follow what God tells you to do. Now, if you fill your heart up with wisdom, with his word and with his wisdom, and you do that, then yes, follow your heart. But as long as you filled it up every single day, if not, take it to him. Filter it through the word. Filter it through true wisdom. In verse 10 and 11, respect, reverence, and protect friendships. Respect, reverence, and protect friendships at all costs. In verse 10 and 11 and 22 through 25, it goes to these things. Respect, reverence, and protect friendships. Make sure that you do. James Dixon is a great example of this. He is an incredible human being and a great friend of mine, and he does this. And I tell you, for me, it's very simple. Will respects me, he reverences me, and he protects our friendship. And he does that through the time that he spends, the energy that he puts into it, the love that he gives. I mean, honestly, over 40 years, that's my brother. It's not my blood, but in my head, he's my chosen family. And Will, I want to tell you again how much I love you. In verse 12, 15, and 16, seek, listen, and apply wisdom. This will help us to be able to be a great friend. If you seek, listen, and then apply wisdom. But if you just seek it, but you don't listen to it, you listen to it, but you don't apply it, it won't work. Wisdom is like this. We got to seek it out. We got to say, like, this is what I'm going after. What is wisdom? It's the right use of knowledge. Where can we get it? From the fear of God. So we need to seek it, we need to listen to it, we need to apply it. And when we do that, it'll show us how to be the greatest friend possible to other people. And then guess what? We'll have the opportunity to have those people in our life too. And I'm very, very fortunate to have one of those in William Simmons, my man, William Howard Simmons. I love you, buddy. You're incredible, man. In verse 13 and 14, invite discipline, and it's easier to accept. As a friend, invite discipline. Now, this was hard this morning because I was on my dog walk, and as I was walking through, I saw my neighbor, and his name is Gabe, and Gabe is a flag football coach. And last season, I was an absolute jerk, during the game, and he was the other coach. And it's been weighing on my heart. And so when I was walking, what God was saying to me, he was like, you need to stop and you need to say something now. And that was like, I didn't want to do it. I just wanted it to kind of fizzle away, whatever it is. And it's been a couple of months since. And, but when God said that, I was like, oh man, this sucks. And then, so I said, okay, cool. And I went over and I said, hey man, I want to just tell you I was a jerk and I apologize. And he's like, stop right there, man. And he's like, actually, I'll let you say what you want to say. And then afterwards he said, all is forgiven. I never even thought twice about it. I just, thank you so much for saying something. But it was one of those things where, honestly, that was God disciplining me. It's so much easier when I invite discipline. God, how can I get better? I didn't ask that this morning. I was walking and God convicted me while I saw Gabe walking. And he said, go and just apologize to that guy. And I was like, ah. Invite discipline. It's much easier to accept. As a friend, in verse 26 and 28, when we draw close to God, he will make us a great friend. When we draw close to God, see, he wants to spend time with us. When he spends time with us, what he's going to do is he's going to fill us up. And I listened to Randy Remington, phenomenal speaker. And what he was saying is you can always tell that it's God if there's love and kindness in it. And see, when he said this in verse 26 through 28, when we draw close to God, which means that he's going to fill you up with love, fill you up with kindness, he will make you a great friend. He will make you a great friend and then make a great friend come into your life because of that love and kindness. They'll show love and kindness. You'll show love and kindness. And I'm telling you, it won't always be easy. When I talk about Will, it's just been smooth sailing all the time. Absolutely not. But I tell you, 40 years of friendship, like since I was in 4th grade, I know, like I could trust him with anything. And I tell you, I'm probably one of the most fortunate people in the world to be able to have him in my life. Now, although when he was in college, I go visit him, and there was a time where I spent the night there. I was kind of cold. I was laying on the floor, and he was sleeping on top of his covers, which I thought was strange. So he had 2 or 3 covers, like blankets. He was sleeping on top of them. Then he had a cover and he had a blanket on top of him. I was sleeping on the floor. Didn't have anything at all. Didn't even have a pillow. And I was like, man, I'm kind of cold. And Will was like, oh, no big deal. I got you. And he got up and I thought he was going to get maybe under his blankets, give me the one that was on top of him. But he didn't. He moved his blanket off to the side, went into the bathroom, got a hand towel. Now, I'm not talking about a large towel. He got a hand towel, just a hand towel. And he got the hand towel, he walked over and he set it on me. He's like, here you go. And then he went and got back under his cover or his blanket that was on top of 3 other blankets, went back to sleep while I tried to cover maybe my forearm with this, with this hand towel. Now, when I say friendship, I give him a hard time about this, but I tell you, there's been so many times where he's been there for me and times when, when I didn't know what to do. But I still am trying to get him back for that hand towel that he gave me. Will, I love you. As we finish up with verse 29 through 35, keep a sober mind. It will combat against strife, complaints, needless pain, that can bluff or blur the vision of true friendship. Let me read it again. Keep a sober mind. It will combat against strife, complaints, and needless pain that can blur your vision of true friendship. And what God's calling us to do is just keep a sober mind. How can we keep a sober mind? Don't let anything, and this is not just talking about, like, sometimes people just take it so literal, like a sober mind. Oh, well, I can't drink. And no, that's not what I'm saying. Don't worry about that stuff. What I am saying is keep a sober mind, right? And how can we keep a sober mind? By filling it up with wisdom. And what is wisdom? It's right use of knowledge. And when we have that, we can keep a sober mind, because there are going to be circumstances that come in a friendship that cause us to be blurred a little bit and start to say, oh my gosh, what, like they just did this circumstantially. They just did this. And then you look back, for me, if I even have that, which I haven't, I can't even remember with Will, but if I did, I would look back to 40 years of friendship. I would look back to who was there for me when my mom died, when my pops passed away, when my business went away. In the darkest times of my life, who was there? It was that guy. It was William Howard Simmons. The guy who had all the Star Wars figures, the name brand ones that I didn't have any of them, and he let me play with them. He didn't judge me because he had all the Transformers, like the name brand ones. And I didn't even have GoBots. I had Zybots. He didn't judge me. He let me play with his and let me hang out in that place. And he came and stayed the night at my house. And we took socks and, sewed them up and made a baseball and then played sock baseball out in my yard. And we did these things throughout. So no matter what happens, I can look back to it. The circumstances don't blur my vision, because my mind is sober on our friendship. And so I want to invite you guys. See, I'm so fortunate to have Will in my life. Over 40 years of friendship has taken me through loss, gain, and everything in between. Proverbs 23 encourages us to value friendship and warns us of the challenges that can divide it. It shines light on the fact that our friendship with God will enhance, solidify, and in a lot of cases, restore the other friendships in our life. I love you, Willie, and I'm so glad on those 9-hour pier fishing trips that we didn't catch any fish, and we just got to sit and become better friends. This has been Proverbs 23, another episode of Inchstones. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't know my buddy, Will, he's not on socials. You can check him out on LinkedIn, William Howard Simmons. You're going to have to find him because he's not a social media guy. I do have him on the podcast from time to time, and he is an absolute incredible human being. And if you ever get the chance to be able to spend time with him, you will love it. Ask him about his Randy Macho Man Savage impression. It is one of the most hilarious things on the planet. I love you, Willie. I love you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you know you need to do, and share this with a friend that needs to hear it. It's the greatest compliment that you could give me. Have a wonderful day. Make sure you check out our interview show. That I interview some of the most iconic people in the world, and they give advice to my kids by name, and the show where I go live and I call my friends randomly, and they don't know they're on the podcast till they're on the podcast, which is called You Have to Meet My Friends. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised.